guys, we're back. And it's 2017 today.
And you have no idea how much prodding I had to do. My hair wasn't right at the back. This is very important. I'm still doing it. And then there was a bit on the side, you're going to get that.
Yeah, alright. Let's move on.
Eyebrows. Moustache.
It's Friday, what is January the 6th. That's it, 2 days after January the 4th. Perihelion and the...
1 after 5. It's very important to remember.
The conception date of your mother, Daphne Golightly.
But it's the closest, and that's actually what we're going to talk about in our video, is the distance to the sun on my mother conception date, which is the 4th of January.
In the year 1912.
So when you go through it, you'll understand that something very strange happens in space, which is a miracle. And it's how the seasons are formed. But there's also mention in that how I come to conclude that there was something drastically wrong with the south of Australia when I flew over it in a plane that I bought for £800 when I was 21 years old. And my brother, who was coming with me, was flying to West Australia to work at the Hemsley Iron Ore Range. So this trip was so...
Is that the same as the Hammersley?
Huh?
Is that the same as the Hammersley?
Hammerhead, yeah.
That's right.
World's largest supply of iron ore. Australia, at Cooper Pedy for example, they've got so much oil that they blocked it off so no one knows about it. It's got more oil there than all of the oil in the world combined. That's Russia, America, Saudi Arabia, all of it. Venezuela, more oil under Australia. And there are prophecies about Australia that's going to crack open in a sense of the water pressure underneath. There's 600,000 square miles of artesian water. And if you drill a hole down into it, the water just comes straight up. You don't need to pump because of the weight of the land mass on it.
Now, I want to put that in perspective because from the beginning, if you go back into Yar's first works, he has been telling the world that Australia will become the breadbasket for the world. So this is the reason why.
So we have a lovely man, Jewish Prime Minister. And Australia's been, since the 30s, Australia has been under the thumb of the Jewish invasion. And they do it secretly. They look like white people, but they're not. So I bought this plane and we're flying across, and I'll give you one, like I'd get up in the morning and say, what's going to happen today? It's just unbelievable. Now my brother, who was a first class moron at that time, I think there might have been one bigger moron than that, and that was my stepfather. However, he was a moron, but a very smart man at the same time. And we're flying out of Mildura, and what had happened, when we flew into Mildura, the oil started to come out from the cowling. There's a thrower washer, or a bearing at the front where the prop was, and it had become loose and started to rotate. And then the oil coming up and was going back over the windshield, so we were blind. And the motorist was revving up something like 1900 revs down to 200 revs, no power whatsoever, in a thunderstorm. So I had done the navigation, and Ron's asking, where do you think we are? I said, well, we're in Mildura. So as we dropped through the clouds without power, we're coming into the Mildura airport. It's got a 707 strip and 10,000 feet long and black. So the big jets could get in there to fly on their way to wherever. And as we're coming in, we're not going along the airstrip, we're going across it. So we hit the grass on one side, and then the gravel had been pushed up with a grader about 3 feet high. So we hit that, and then bounced across another 50 metres or so of gravel, and then hit the blacktop of the strip, then off to the gravel again, up in the air, when we hit this 3 foot high, like a jump ramp, and then they came down on one wheel and on a tip of the wing, and they gouged the grass out in a perfect circle, about 32 feet across. So we then worked on the plane and got it fixed. So about midday, we taxied the plane to the end of the strip because it's hot. And what happens is when the tarmac gets hot, it gives off this heat waves coming up, and it's turbulent, and it's very hard to get lifted on a small plane. But it's all right for a jet. So as we're going along, my idiot brother, he taxis it through the grass, sort of keeping on the side of the gravel. No, he's got to go with the grass. And he runs into a rabbit warren. And the thing just falls down on one web. So I think, oh, here we go. Well, I was strong as a forklift in those days, and I got out and I said, now I'll lift the plane, I'll get under the plane, under the wing. And then I was just doing a push-up like this to get under it, to get the wheel out of a foot deep into this rabbit warren. So he guns it, and next thing is out. So good. We get down the end of the strip. At the same time, a fire engine's come racing across, and all these guys are hanging off like the Keystone Cops. You guys all right? Yeah, don't worry about it. So we get down the end of the strip. You think that's bad enough? That's nothing. So, at the end of 10,000 feet, we come. It's a little bit starting to get, because we've got to get the wind under the air, under the wings lift, right? This thing flew at about 33 miles per hour with these big, huge wings, right? No flaps. So as we're rolling along, nothing's happening, right? We get past 10,000 mark, we're on the end of the strip into the gravel, onto the grass. And that grass is not as much heat given off, it gives a bit of lift, just to clear the fence on the end of the strip. Under the tension wires going like that on the telegraph poles. So if that wasn't bad enough, there's a train coming to my left. Because my brother didn't see it, right? I said, a train, right? And I could see the wide eyes of the engine driver looking at the plane coming at this damn train, right? So it's going across on a 90 degree from what we was travelling. And there's these big carriages, and we're only about 10 feet off the ground. So the train, of course, is 25 feet high or whatever. These carriages, we think, oh shit, we're going to hit the train. And just as we got to the train, the flat car came through. A couple of flat cars. We went across the top of the flat car.
Now, of course, it was stories like these that you were telling Pope Benedict that kept him awake at night.
It would laugh his guts out.
He was laughing. He said, oh, you make me feel so young again. Well,
all these things are in our emails. Right? Yeah. I've been ashamed to send them to you to let you see them. Because I'm talking to a bunch of...
And he said it's like Jesus and the parables. It's
the parables of the freight train, right? I'll tell you one more, right? Finally, my brother says to me, give us a map, will you? Now, when you're going across Australia in those days, there was a little huts they'd put up for the pilots. And you could sleep overnight. Well, that was very handy because we'd worked on the damn plane all night, getting it ready to go for the next morning, and into the next morning. Finally fixed this thrower bearing, took the top of the engine off. So, we're right. So we're flying. We're flying out, and eventually getting to, heading towards, out over the desert.
Yeah, now where's your destination? Where are you actually heading for?
West Australia.
West Australia. So this is...
Hemsley Iron Ore Range, right?
Yeah, Victoria is where Mildura is. So it's across the
continent. So now we're going into South Australia, Great Australia Bight, and we land on the road near a motel. Because my brother had left the maps behind in the pilot's shack. And of course he's blaming me. I'm very pedantic. I got the fuel right, I got everything right, no problem. I check the plane out because he's a moron. And of course he's such a moron, he leaves the maps of how to get across West Australia. And I said, well, there's one way, we can just follow the bloody road because it does go to West Australia, right? So there's two roads. There's one down on the cliff face, and then you go in a few miles, and then it goes up to a higher level at the mainland at that particular point where we was. So we see this motel and we land there, and it's about 5 in the afternoon. We're going to stay overnight there. So my brother, he's anxious to get moving. I said, listen, that don't make any damn difference, right? Like an hour or two. So it's a bad time to take off at this moment.
Well, you didn't tell why, because the owner of the hotel that you were speaking to said that she owned a second one.
Well, she convinced him that she owned a second motel. She can radio ahead and we can land on the road beside it or go up the airfield or whatever. She said, the airfield, it's in the, what they have across like that. And they just clear the scrub away. and you can land. So it gives you 4 different directions to land in. So you want to land into the wind. So when we get there, unfortunately it's 9:30 at night because we hit a headwind.
So the less than 2 hours.
312 miles to go from about 5:30, right? So it's 9:30 at night, 4 hours of flying, right? We're still in there. So we see these lights flashing back and forth. Now what happens, as the sun sets, this higher level of mainland, it's like shutting the lights out. The shadow, all of a sudden, boom, across where we're flying in the lower area, lights out. You can't see nothing, it's pitch black. So I'm thinking, oh shit. So the chances are we can land, even if we crash landing, it's going to be right, because the thing stalls at 31 miles an hour. So there's no real big problem. So the lights are flashing on these 2 vehicles come out from the motel. And where she said, a woman who owns millions of square miles of this, or acres, she says, you can't miss it, it's right next to it.
Right next to the motel.
Well, to her, right next door could be 5 miles away, right, which it was. And these 2 trucks go along the road, we're flashing lights, and where the hell are they going? So we followed them, and they go up on top of this mainland, which is higher up. And they get on this strip, and they lights either end of the strip. So we're landing into the headlights one way, and the lights behind us on them. Unfortunately, they were landing us into a crosswind. And the crosswind on the Gypsy Major 1 engine that we had would push the wash around and would push the tail around. So if you rev the plane up, it would tend to push the tail around in the same direction that the wind's coming. So like, hello? So my brother was landing, and he's quite a good pilot. And he's landing and doing a good job. So we're settling in, and, considering all the problems, and I got this odd feeling, and I put my head out, slid the window open, and put my head out. And a very dangerous thing to do, you get a bug in the eye or something and blind you. So I didn't have goggles on. So as I put my head out, there's this woman, I can see in the silhouette of the light, standing up. Just she starts to stand up, she's holding a baby. And I can see the silhouette. So I reached over and pulled the stick back on the plane went up and jumped over a tribe of Aboriginal that had camped in the middle of the airstrip. Aboriginals have a habit every year, they get this strange urge, they've got to go walk about, right? Well, they was walking about all right, I never expected a yellow hornet moth, Diablo, 1927, to jump over the top of the drive. That's just one of the 2 of the things that happened on this damn trip. Right,
and as it turned out, because the owner of the hotel was, the motel was Nora Hayson, who was...
No, it's a different story.
That's a different story.
It's a different story.
I thought it was the same.
No. Another place... What was it going to take?
Well, that is...
Do you want us to tell it now?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. There's Nora Hastings.
No, Hayson.
She had won... That's her sister.
Hayson.
She had won, the first woman at 27 years of age or something like that, had won the highest art award in Australia called the Nobel Prize.
The Archibald Prize, not the Nobel Prize. You've got Nobel in the brain.
Archibald Prize. I just spoke to my fellow in his name Nobel. And what had happened was my brother had said to me, check the fuel. Like he's sitting beside me as well, he could check it off. It's right between, sitting on this tank, and it was 2 gallons. And we're in the middle of the desert, right? And he said, what? Yeah, that's what it's saying. We've got to land, he says. Like, I've been more inclined to fly and just see what happens, right? You're going to come down, you might as well come down. But anyhow, he said, see the smoke over there? He said, fly towards that, I'm flying, right? So when we get there, it's Aboriginal camp. Now, the chances of coming across Aboriginals camping anywhere in Australia, there's only a few 100,000 of them. And we've got 3 million square miles, so it's not a bad effort to come across Aboriginals. So as we go past, there's more smoke in the distance, and there towards that, he says. Now we're getting a big panic. As we get there, it's a homestead and a big rock. The rock would be 300 to 400 feet high and wide, just like it's been dropped out of Mars, right? Which is the subject of the story. And there's an old guy sitting as we go past. I'll tell you how it happened first off. Ron, he decides he's going to land and taxi up to the front of this house, right? And there's these boulders, and he thinks that they're smaller than what they actually are, but I know exactly how big they are. And I said, you can't land it. But he actually be right. So he's putting it down, and the wheels are starting to hit these boulders, because there's a chance they could tear the bloody undercarriage off. because it's big enough. And then he's got to gun it, because now you're hitting the boulders, slowing you down. So he guns it to get speed up, it's still rattling across these boulders, and we get the plane up a bit, and it's heading straight towards the homestead. And the guy is sitting in a wheelchair, in a rocking chair, rocking back and forth, an old guy with a beard, rocking back and forth like that. Next thing, we're coming straight down. Well, the rocking stopped, right? So we went up, and now we've got to get over this bloody mountainous rock behind the house, and we peel off like the Red Baron, right? He gets the idea that we're trying to land, and he sends his son out in his brand new Thunderbird car. So there was 40 people. That was way out. They had this airstrip, so we landed there, checked it out, because it was just a rivet come loose on this spiralling thing that gives you the indication of when it turns and how much fuel you got. So you could tell, I could tell how much fuel was in it by the weight of it. The plane will respond. You've got 700 kilos of bloody fuel. You can tell how much response there is in the plane. Anyhow, that wasn't good enough for my stupid bloke. When we get there, there's this lady of German ancestry had won the Archibald Prize, and she was only 27 years old, and the only woman, or at least the first woman, I'm not sure, but certainly the first woman to win the Archibald Prize.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, and she had a house full of art.
1938.
And all these big drawers that you pull out, piece of plywood, art on it, another one below that, a couple of inches, another one below that, house full of it. And the house was huge. The room where all the art was monstrous, so we ended up spending 3 days there. The point is, I was born on her birthday.
January 11th. She was
if it hadn't been from the angelic
1911.
causing that rivet to be loose, we wouldn't have dropped in there.
Yeah. So
and that's, I'll show you the plane in the video.
That's what it's all about. It's all about the landmass of Australia breaking up with Antarctica, and, but it's the collision of Mars and the Earth that causes it. So yes, there's some of the stories, but there's a question.
There's no water on Mars. Where did it go to? Hello, come on. And the orbit of Mars, when we went through the Milky Way galaxy equatorial line, it went down southwards, and think of it like a pendulum that here's the sun going back and forth across, and we're now in the northern side, as you know, and it just swings back and forth like that. And it's like a pendulum with gravity, where the Milky Way galaxy centre line, if you like, is causing us to be swinging back and forth. If it didn't happen, the Earth and all the planets would be sucked into the sun. So that's what it's all about. So that gives us life, in that sense, or a place to live. So as we're swinging back and forth, it's coming back up. But Mars moved out of its orbit and then collided with the Earth, and then you'll find that the rotational speed of axis of Mars is slightly higher than that of the Earth. So the Earth was slowed down and Mars was sped up. And good. When you get into it, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Now, there's a question that needs to be answered. Many people are wondering, what are your thoughts about Donald Trump and his insistence?
Do you want to put that up the front of this video? If that's the case, stop it and start again. We'll join together.
What's that?
What the question?
No. It's all right. I'll just no, keep going. The question on everybody's lips is, what is Yar's thoughts about Donald Trump saying that they will move the US Embassy into Jerusalem, and Australia has followed suit, saying the same thing, moving it out of Tel Aviv into Jerusalem. What are your thoughts?
Well, I like it because the Wailing Wall, where these Jews are bobbing back and forth with little curls going on, these are the serpent worshippers out of the Khazar area. And they're bullshitting the world that they are the Jews when they act. There's very few Jews left of that. And even the Jews at the time weren't Jews anyhow, they were of the offspring of Esau. And all of the true, if you like, Judah is a tribe. So the royal family like ours, us here, we're the royal family. We're the Jews, right, of Judah. It's just a nickname. Jew is a nickname.
Yeah, it's like a slang term for being of the tribe of Judah.
Judite is another way to say it. So that's the royal tribe. So all your prophets were of the tribe of Judah. Okay, so what's it mean? The Wailing Wall that they're going to protect for the Jews to bob back and forth on is in fact not of Solomon. The Temple of Solomon was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar in 586 BC. So it was rebuilt by the Persians under King Cyrus, who ordered it, and Darius, his son, carried it out under Zerubbabel, I think. And it was, the whole thing was restructured, rebuilt. So what was it built? Yahweh's temple. So that's why Jesus, as I, Jesus, go into the temple and throw all these money changers out, which is the prophecy of the day, all the money changers are going to get thrown out. Don't make
my father's house,
a place of merchandise.
Which is what every...
So he wasn't talking about the house of Solomon, right? Nothing to do with that. It's gone, destroyed. The second one is the house of Yahweh, built for the God of Daniel and Ezekiel and Isaiah. Right? That's what that's all about. Isaiah predicted Cyrus would rebuild the house. Right? So that was before it was destroyed. That's not a good effort. And he named Cyrus 187 years before he was born. So we've got to go along with Isaiah being a prophet. He knew what he was talking about, right?
And so when the temple to Yahweh, your temple, was destroyed in 70 AD, that was because of the influence that the false Jews,
Babylonian Jews, right?
had over Rome.
And they convinced Rome. You've got the story of Nero. He set fire to Rome because he wanted to make his palace bigger, and then blamed the Christians. Right? That's this insanity of the time. Well, it wasn't hard for these Jews to get in there, right? The false Jews out of Babylon, to get in there and influence them to destroy the temple of Yahweh.
So, in your mind,
good thing.
It's a good thing.
Like, I'm going to take over, right? So Trump,
we'll get things
we told Trump to run, right? It doesn't matter whether he denies it. It doesn't matter. He said, oh, I never heard of it. It doesn't matter. He's 2.424 years younger than me. Jesus, hello, in Greek gematria. So he is going to do a good job, don't know about that. And he is going to clean it out. So he's going to be all inspired to do so, and he will get it done, don't worry about that. And then, as time goes by, people will realise who I am, and even if Trump doesn't matter. I've got what I want. Right? The control of Jerusalem through America. Because they're all turning my way.
As the world awakens.
So therefore, as the Christian world is all of Lucifer, then the Jews that are suddenly baptised, I'm talking about you've got to be baptised in water, they are the ones that represent the 144,000 in the book of Revelation 14, 3 and 4, which are the same number of the white 7-ton pure white alabaster stones that did adorn the outside of the Great Pyramid. And then the garment of Yahweh goes over it because there's only one male, that's me, and everyone else has got a female soul.
Including Donald Trump.
Including Donald Trump. He don't like that. So next time Donald looks in the mirror, maybe he should put eyebrows and lipstick and eyelashes on.
Just as Obama does.
Maybe, as Obama does, yes.
Alright, okay, so a good thing, guys. Everything's getting prepared for Yahweh to... It's a takeover. And so let's get on with the PowerPoint.
Alrighty.
Let's say... Hasta
la vista, baby.
And later, Gators.